Hello, John Rule 34 here. So, it's been a while since I created a Johnny fan art while releasing the time lapse afterwards. So, this time, this fan art had an actual demonstration of the process. I screen recorded it, but this is supposed to be like a real time. But I decided to speed it up for easier transfer to my phone since like the actual recording that is not edited, it's really frustrating and very difficult to transfer. So speaking of that, while I am showing you the speed paint of this fan art, I'm gonna talk about the one thing that made me regret and how my family reacted and how my friend reacted and how I was like terrified or my perspective on that event. So before I'm gonna tell you about those, I'm gonna tell you on the happenings or the context itself. So during the last days of our bacon pastry class, my classmates were planning for the farewell party. The plan itself is kinda confusing, and at first I wasn't interested. But when my instructor, or I call him chef, I literally had a crush on that guy, and I can do anything to see him for the final time, gets involved and wanted to go. This is where I started to invest in the plan, and I want to go with them. But deep down, I know my aunt won't agree on me going with them because most of them are grown adults and I am the youngest of the batch. When I talk about this to my aunt wasn't happy about this. She was very hostile in this, and she's really angry at this point. And yes, I understand her even though I'm crying, and I was stubborn in that time. And now I realize that I should listen to her. She then learned of my intention on going with them. She was freaked out that I'm just stalking my instructor, or or he will might take advantage of me, or, or something like that. I think she's kind of right, and I it was painful to listen, but it's still stuck in my head. Like, what if a chef is really, really that not that kind of person that I look up to. I was depressed afterwards, but days later, my aunt changed her mind. She lets me go and enjoy time with them, but in one condition: I had to go home very early. So I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied about this, and I decided to pay my classmates. Yeah, my classmates like let let us pay 100 pesos. I paid 100 pesos finally, but looking back now, it made me regret, and I was like, why am I doing that, or why did I pay 100 pesos? Why I waste my money? I can do with the 100 pesos something more worth it. So I think you will learn why I regretted on paying them 100 pesos or my decision as well later. So fast forward, I was pretty excited. I thought that the party was about dinner, so I decided to not take dinner and go too early. I was like walking around while waiting for my classmates to came. So yeah. So it took a while to wait for them, and finally my best friend arrived along with my other classmates. And I got a hotspot and I have internet a bit. So I decided to chat with my aunt. In the chat, my aunt told me to go home. It's getting late. But the party wasn't started yet, and only a few of my classmates were here and waiting for the others. And with that, I kind of feel the pressure of going home, because if I don't go home too early, I will be in trouble. So fast forward, I'm starting to get hungry and I don't have enough money to buy food because I spent the last 100 pesos for the payment. And then I've realized that this party is not about dinner. It's about so-called snacks. And while we are in the restaurant waiting for the few people to come in, my mind suddenly played out that something bad or not good will happen, or something is wrong. And yes, and I feel it. The boys I talk, they said that why go home? It's too early. The party isn't starting yet. They advised me to not go, cause it's like it's early, they said. But I rejected their advice because my mind let me think about my aunt who's worried of my safety. So I brush off their advice, and all of a sudden one of them said that I might be thinking about my safety. IDK, what's their intention? It's either they mocking me or they somehow understood on my feelings on that time. But let's just take it a grain of salt here. So fast forward, and now it's getting late, and somehow I kind of feel unsafe. I'm getting anxious, and I'm feeling unnerving and some shit. And I started to regret on joining indecision on joining them. So, but I don't talk to my friend in whom I trust about this. So I decided to step back and started to distance myself from them, because my mind programs of the consequences if I join and stay any longer. I hesitate because I just want to see Chef. I then started to develop to have a feeling that I want to go home in that time too. I never told my best friend about this, so I had no one to turn to but my good old friend Raisa. While I started to distance myself from them, I talked to my dear friend Raisa, and I talked about it that I regretted on my decision. And Reza answered what happened. So I told him what actually happened. And Reza started to worried. And this is where I started to go outside. And I was planning to go in, but I told him that I feel like I want to go home. So so he said that I'm already there. Yes, I'm already there. So Reza told me to go home. So I gave up on wanting to see Chef. I have to take the advice of my friend who worried about my safety in my all dear heart, and I started to run and never look back. And I was lucky that I still have enough money for me to have motorcycle to go home as fast as I could. And yes, it was a very crazy one. I was so hyped to go home because my safety was put at risk, and I decided to go home because before everything will take in place. And till this day, I am so grateful for my dear friend Reza to whistleblow me to go home because it's not safe. And yes, she expressed that she was worried. So yes, that was a lesson learned. I don't want to do this again. I don't want my family or my aunties to, also my dear friend, to worry on my safety because of this unnecessary risk. When I first got home, I hugged my elder sister just to symbolize that I'm finally safe again. And I also told everything on my aunt as well, and she commented that at least I went home really safe. So yeah, I'm so happy that I returned safe and do something before it's too late. So I went to a crazy stages when I was there. I didn't stop talking about this in Facebook, and the reaction of my aunt was like, please don't do it again. We don't want to see you. Something bad will might happen to you. So I decided I won't do this again. And I literally reached out to my auntie Alma and told me about this situation that I was in days later. And she sometimes applaud me that I still have follow my instance and give me some advice that she told me don't go on like friends because friends, like it's like you are like hanging out with strangers or something like bad will happen, or they will do evil or some shit like that. I followed her advice deeply, and she says that it's better to be in family gatherings or visit her observatory anytime. And I was like, yes, I realized the value of my spending time with my family, because spending time with my family made me feel more safe, more secure, and more joy than spending time or hanging out with friends that feels like a stranger to me. So yeah, I'm thankful for my dear friend who was concerned on me, and my aunts and my relatives who were also concerned on me and giving me advice in return. So we finally reached in the end. Sorry, it was like a very long to make because I made more like several attempts or cutting this out because this is very unscripted. So thank you guys for watching, and see you